Alright, so we back in the shadowy office slash room of Cochise. And it's time to talk about that thing. You know what that thing is. Piping off, jacking off, emptying the clip, cleaning the gun, spanking the monkey, fixing the tallywhacker, skeeting to the moon, all of it. That's what we're here to talk about today. AKA masturbation. For men, not for women, because that's something totally different. You know, I get that question a lot, and every man, hopefully every man, has experienced masturbation at some point in his life. And the thing is, with everything, there always comes a time where you may abuse something. You know, every man can't, you just can't be with a woman every day. And even sometimes if you do have a woman, you may still do it. And a lot of that has to do with, these images, of course, that we see on television and porn. And we're just overly sexualized. And that's just the reality. We're not going to even play that game and act like we're not. Just as, especially men, you see, she got on something tight and she got this going, she got the hip, she got the Coke bottle, she got the onion behind her, she got all of that. So we're constantly thinking, especially if you have high amounts of testosterone, that's just what that's what you're thinking. Man, I gotta, AKA, or quote unquote, I gotta bust this nut, as they say. Or I gotta skeet off, man, I gotta release this tension. So is it good or is it bad? Well, let's take it like this. No matter what you do, abuse is never good. Whether it's drug abuse, whether it's alcohol abuse, whether it's sexual abuse, whether it's child abuse. You could whip your child or you could discipline your child, but there comes a time to where it's like, okay, that's abuse. That's too, you have crossed the line, so we have to punish you. Or you have to reap, or you have to face the consequences. And the same thing happens when you're talking about masturbation. Sometimes it becomes a habit and you start to do it so much, 2 and 3 and 4 times a day. Sometimes it comes to the point to where you going so much and you and you pretty much ejaculating dust because you done ran out, you done exhausted all of your quote unquote semen. There's nothing, now you just skeeting dust. Like, that's what you're doing. So there's nothing left because you're doing it so much and so much. You're not giving the body a chance to replenish yourself. I don't suggest and again, every man is different, but I don't suggest that you do it daily. I know some of us, we just can't help it, but part of being able to hold on to that, a part of being able to control yourself, if you can control yourself, let me say this, if you can control yourself, you'll get far in life, because that means that's self-discipline. If you can say, you know what, I'm not going to do that, because that urge is strong. That urge to release is strong, especially if you see something physical you want, if you're attracted to a female and you want to give her that. We already know what that is. So you want to give her that, but it's like, I'm trying to hold back. So you go and you squeeze one out, trying to not give her that, or trying to not rub on her and all that. Especially if you get into something with her, you kissing and you doing all these different things, you intimate, and then she say, hey, wait a minute, I'm not ready for that. And you like, damn, and you got blue balls. So you like, yo, I'm not about to be stuck with these blue balls all night. I got to release that. Blue balls is when there's a swelling of the testicles. Let's talk about that. Semen, which is what's released during masturbation. You have semen, which comes from the testicles. The testicles are responsible for producing semen, and they're also responsible for producing testosterone. That's why when you see when somebody says that, he ain't got no nuts, what they're really saying is that he doesn't have that testosterone, that thing that makes him go, that thing that makes you, when you lifting weights and you see them and they straining and that's what testosterone makes you manly, so to speak, okay? The other piece that's very critical in the masturbation process or semen production is going to be the prostate. Through the testicles coming up through the prostate is where the semen is released. The semen is released, so the semen comes up through the prostate and the semen is released. Now, the problem is that that prostate is constricting and opening and closing, okay? So what happens is you could potentially wear that muscle out. I'll talk about that anyway. So each time you ejaculate, you are losing 3 to 5 milligrams of zinc. Zinc is important because zinc is going to repair tissues, okay? 3 to 5 milligrams of zinc, and most of us are not putting that zinc back in. Most people that's doing a lot of ejaculation like that, you're not putting that zinc back in, just for simple fact is you may not even know what plants or what fruits and vegetables or foods contain that zinc. And zinc is very important in forming or maintaining a healthy prostate. So when you lose that zinc, you're putting your prostate in jeopardy each and every time. And you know you're not putting it back, or most of us are not putting it back. And so what happens is there's this thing called DHT. I think it's called like dihydrotestosterone, something like that. The more of that that's released, because it's stronger than testosterone, the more that is released, the higher probability you have of getting prostate cancer or contracting prostate cancer or contracting an enlarged prostate. So anytime that you're going to be doing this, you're putting yourself at risk, especially if you're doing it a couple times a day or just doing it every day and you're not putting it back in. There's something else that I did. I'm trying to think. There was something else that was, the basics. With that semen that you have that's coming out, that is another human being potentially. So that's a seed that you're losing every time. So you're losing energy. Not only are you losing that zinc, by the way, you're losing selenium, you're losing chromium, you're losing you're losing magnesium. And by the way, the reproductive system is connected to the hair. So when you see guys and they're thinning a lot, it could be due to there's a situation going on in the reproductive system. So if you're ejaculating a lot, then your hair, because those are nutrients, and remember zinc is important for hair, selenium is important for hair, vitamin C is important for hair. You have all these different things that are important for the formation of collagen and hair follicles and structures and all this different stuff. It's important for that, so it's losing. But getting back to the point at hand, that's a baby. That's a baby that you are losing. So I'll never forget my basketball coaches always say, look, you are losing too much energy when you ejaculate that. I don't want y'all doing that before the game. Don't do that. Number one, because you're spilling your seed. He hung around with the Muslims. And he would say, look, you're spilling your seed. So you don't want to do that. That's power. That's a whole nother human being that every time you ejaculate, instead of you putting that in a woman, you putting it in Kleenex or on the sheets or on the ground, whatever you're doing it at. The other piece is that you desensitize yourself from being with a woman when you do that. You desensitize, so you no longer, because all you're doing, you're watching porn or you have these images and you think that this is love, you're connecting the two, and that's not really love. So you're like, is this that? And then what happens is all you want to do is you just want to ejaculate. That's all you want to do. So you don't get a chance to know her. I'm talking about somebody that you really want to be with or whatever, because you're just desensitized to that, to love making, to foreplay, to all of those different things, to the connection of the sex act, because there is downloading and uploading. Remember I talk about that in the audio, The Purpose of Sex. That a man downloads into the woman and a woman uploads into him. So if you with that woman and your life gets worse, that means she has some bad coochie. That's what that means. If you with that man and your life get worse, then that means he has some bad D-bone or penis, whatever. That's what that means. Not getting away from the subject. Desensitization, I think, if that's a word. The man becomes desensitized because he's so used to his hand, and he's so used to just being with himself all the time that he doesn't know how to touch, caress, please a woman. In that sense, masturbation is not going to be good because you're doing it so much. I think one of the things that everybody has probably went through is that you unload the clip. Because you get so used to jacking yourself off, or masturbating, self-pleasuring. What happened is you get to when you get with a woman and that it's so warm in there, it's so good, and if it's tight or whatever, if the tread ain't off of it, that's what we got to run and joke. Man, the tire tread was there. The tire tread wasn't low. That's if your girl been around with a lot of dudes. The tire tread is low. But if the tire tread ain't low and it fits you like, who was that? Was it Morris Chestnut that said that in that movie? What was the movie? He was like, yeah, man, it was like custom made. The movie with Tay Diggs, where he hung him out, he beat him up for sleeping with his girl. But when you do that, your clip, those muscles get weak, and you ejaculate quick when you get with her, so you face embarrassment because all you're doing is just used to self-pleasuring yourself. So there is no true. You really just can't get into the act. You really can't get into the act because you have set your biological clock where the penis is to go off in a couple of minutes. So when it gets to something so warm and so good, it's like a super soaker. You out before you start. So upon entrance, you out. You got to pull out like, oh my God. You got to pull out like that because this is what you have made yourself become accustomed to. So masturbation is not, frequent masturbation is not good for your prostate. You can hold it, man. You can kind of, hold on as much as you can. And what'll happen is you'll have what they call it wet dreams, but it's scientifically called nocturnal emissions, I believe. To emit means to throw out. So that means that you'll wake up and it'll have came out on its own. Especially if you hold off for a while, especially if you're thinking about something and it comes out in a dream, because you wake up. A lot of us, a man's supposed to wake up erect. Every morning he should wake up erect because you have the iron, you have the zinc, everything is there. It's blood circulation. When you don't have that blood circulation in the morning in your penis area, then that means that you need to work on your health, because every man should wake up with an erect penis in the morning. That's the best time to really make love to your girl and be intimate and all that kind of stuff. Now, if you got a limp biscuit in the morning, then that means that you need to work on blood circulation. You need to fix the prostate area and all of that stuff down there, which you can do through cleanses and herbs and all that. So, in all, over masturbation, or just, I would say, I would try not to. It's hard. Who am I to tell you? Who am I to tell you? I'm still a man as well, but I would say just try to keep yourself occupied to do other things so that you don't have to think about it. Even though we think about it, even when we, especially at the gym, man, you see all them spandex and you see all that. It's hard. It is hard. But don't abuse that. Don't even do it once a day. Don't even, I would just say try your best not to do that. Try your best not to do it. Better to hold on to that seed, keep your energy. But if you're going to do it, make sure you're consuming watermelon. Make sure you're consuming, because it has zinc, make sure you're consuming pumpkin seeds. Make sure you're consuming tomatoes. Make sure you're consuming sesame seeds. Make sure you're consuming avocados. Make sure you're consuming bell peppers. All those things you have, because you have to put out what you lost. Brazil nuts for the selenium. So make sure you're putting this stuff back in your body, man. All in all, masturbation, every so once in a while, it's not bad. It's not bad for you because you need to release. Because holding in, what you suppress will express. It'll come out on its own. That's the other thing. But overexpression is like, that's not healthy. So maybe once a week, if you can help it. You know, twice max, but once a week is enough. If you could go without doing it for 6 months to a